10 years after the Charon Incident, the humanization of the galaxy was in full swing. We didn't just use Council tech, we broke it and put it back together. This was evident during the Battle of the Krios Nebula, where a human fleet was sent to deal with a pirate coalition that had been raiding Xylo's spice lanes for decades. Commander Elias Thorne, now an admiral, stood on the bridge of the UEV Indomitable. Unlike the elegant, fragile ships of the Council, the Indomitable was a slab of reinforced steel and exposed wiring. It was ugly, loud, and incredibly dangerous. While Council ships hummed with the polite song of antimatter stabilizers, the Indomitable growled. It felt like standing inside the throat of a god-sized combustion engine. "Admiral, the pirate fleet has shifted into a V formation," Charon reported. She was now a captain, her face scarred from the Charon blast, a jagged reminder of the day humanity stopped asking for permission. "They're using Council-grade plasma shields. Our railguns won't penetrate at this range. They expect us to fight like the Xylos," Elias said, a wolfish grin spreading across his face. He leaned over the tactical map, his eyes reflecting the harsh orange glow of the monitors. "They expect us to trade long-range shots until our shields give out. Launch the Copperhead drones." The Indomitable shuddered as thousands of small, unpiloted craft flooded the space between the fleets. They weren't armed with lasers. They were armed with magnetic grapples and old-fashioned nuclear-shaped charges. To the pirates, these were primitive toys. "The pirates are laughing, sir," Charon noted, looking at the comms chatter. "They call them metal mosquitoes." "Let them laugh," Elias said. "Charon, execute the anvil. Full thrust. We're going to ram the lead ship." The Council observers on the bridge gasped. "Admiral, that is not how space combat is conducted," a Xylos observer screeched. "Calculations show a 90% chance of hull failure. The structural integrity of a ship of this mass cannot withstand a kinetic impact against a reinforced plasma barrier." "Then I like those 10% odds," Elias snapped. The Indomitable roared. Using the Ethelgard drive, a piece of Council teleportation tech the humans had modified by stripping out the safety limiters, they created a gravity slingshot. The human ship accelerated to speeds that shouldn't have been possible for a vessel of its mass. On the pirate bridge of the Void Reaper, the laughter died instantly. Their sensors weren't picking up a standard tactical approach. They were picking up a localized tectonic event. The metal mosquitoes suddenly ignited. They didn't fire at the ships. They clamped onto the plasma shields, their magnetic grapples fusing to the energy lattice. Then, the nuclear-shaped charges detonated. They weren't meant to destroy the ships. They were designed to create frequency interference. The explosions punched localized cracks in the plasma field, turning a solid wall of energy into a fractured spiderweb of static. "Brace for impact," Charon screamed over the groan of protesting bulkheads. The Indomitable punched through the lead pirate cruiser like a bullet through glass. There was no elegant energy dissipation. It was a scream of metal on metal, a trillion tons of human spite colliding with the pirate's pride. The cruiser's bow flattened like a tin can, and the Indomitable plowed through the center of the ship, emerging on the other side through a cloud of frozen atmosphere and shattered bodies. The explosion lit up the nebula in a kaleidoscope of neon blue and fire. The pirate formation shattered. But the humans didn't stop. They fought with a frantic, coordinated chaos that the pirates couldn't predict. "Launch the Terriers," Thorne commanded. From the Indomitable's broadside, hundreds of boarding pods, iron-shod cylinders with serrated drills, launched into the swirling debris. They didn't aim for hangar bays or airlocks. They slammed into the hulls of the surviving pirate frigates. Inside the pirate ships, the terror was absolute. To the Council races, boarding was a surgical affair of precision lasers and formal surrender. To the humans, it was a home invasion. The Terriers were filled with Marines wearing powered exoskeletons that looked more like mining equipment than military gear. They carried short-barreled magnetic shotguns and thermite torches. "They're inside the vents," a pirate distress signal wailed over the open comms. "They aren't even using the corridors." They're cutting through the decks. They're everywhere. On the Indomitable, the cyber warfare suite, manned by a group of 20-somethings in hoodies who didn't care about galactic decorum, unleashed a digital virus. They didn't try to hack the pirates' weapons. They hacked the life support and the gravity. On 3 pirate ships, the gravity suddenly inverted, slamming the crews into the ceilings at 5 GS, while the temperature in the cabins plummeted to absolute zero. "Admiral, the second cruiser is trying to flee," Kaylin reported, her fingers dancing across the console. "They're spooling their jump drives." "Not on my watch," Thorne said. "Deploy the anvil's weight." Deep in the belly of the Indomitable, a prototype weapon hummed to life. It was a localized gravity well generator, another humanized Council relic. The Council used these to stabilize moons. The humans used them to create artificial black holes for 3 seconds at a time. The space behind the fleeing cruiser buckled. The ship didn't just stop. It was yanked backward as if caught by a cosmic hook. Its engines shrieked, and then melted into slag under the sheer force of the spatial distortion. The battlefield had become a meat grinder, a chaotic swirl of kinetic slugs, nuclear fire, and the relentless, grinding advance of human steel. The Xylos observer watched in a state of catatonic shock. To him, war was a game of chess played with beams of light. This was a bar fight in a burning building. He saw a human frigate, the UEV Relentless, take a direct hit from a plasma lance that melted its primary bridge. Instead of retreating, the Relentless vented its oxygen to extinguish the fires, switched to auxiliary manual controls, and used its remaining thrusters to slam its belly into the enemy's weapons array, grinding the pirate ship into dust with its own weight. "Why?" the observer whispered, his voice trembling. "Why do you fight like this? You are destroying your own ships just to kill them." Elias didn't look at him. "Because they're in our way. And because we can fix a hull. We can't fix a lost reputation." The final moments of the battle were a blur of violence. The remaining pirate ships, realizing they were facing a predator that didn't follow the rules of physics or mercy, tried to surrender. But the Terriers were already in their engine rooms. When the dust settled, the pirate coalition was no more. The Krios Nebula, once a haven for raiders, was now a graveyard of council-grade alloys and human iron. The Indomitable drifted amidst the wreckage, its hull scarred, its wiring still sparking, looking more like a monster than a vessel of exploration. The Council observer looked at the debris-strewn space, then at Elias, who was calmly lighting a cigar, a habit he refused to give up, despite the oxygen scrubber's constant protests. The flame of the lighter flickered, reflecting in the Admiral's cold, tired eyes. "You are insane," the Xylos whispered, looking at the tactical readout that showed 0 pirate survivors and a human fleet that was already beginning to weld itself back together in the middle of a vacuum. "No," Elias puffed, the smoke swirling in the low gravity, drifting toward the ceiling in lazy, ghostly patterns. "We're just efficient. Now tell the Council the spice lanes are open." He turned away from the viewport, the heavy boots of his uniform thudding against the metal deck with a finality that made the Xylos flinch. "And tell them the bill is coming. If you had fun watching, give this a like and follow me for more content."